This is my demonstration of the cubic right angle weave. This is the way I like to demonstrate it and explain it. I find it the easiest way to do it. I have two color beads here. One color is going to represent the floor and ceiling beads, and the other are the wall beads. Picking up 4 floor beads, because this is cubic or 4-sided, slide them down, leaving enough tail to hang on to and weave away later. And then you're going to pass through all 4 of the beads again. This is just to help tighten them and make a nice clean start point. And then pass through the first 1 or 2 beads from the beginning. I do it either way, it doesn't matter too much here if it's 1 bead or 2. Pull everything snug and get a good grip on your tail thread. You want to make sure you hang on to this through the first round. So each unit has to have 4 total beads. We have the floor, so we're picking up a wall, and then the ceiling, and then the wall, or 3 beads, and pass through that floor bead that you're exiting in the same direction. And when you pull down the beads, you'll see you have a floor and a ceiling opposite each other, and then 2 walls. Step around to the next floor bead for the next unit. This unit has its floor and it has one of its walls. So we're going to pick up the wall bead and then the ceiling bead, and then we're going to pass down through the wall and the floor bead your thread was exiting. This completes the second unit. And then step over and pass through the next floor bead. This is going to be for the third unit. And I'm going to leave my units here a little loose so that you can better see what's going on. Again, we need 2 more beads, a wall and a ceiling. Pass down through the last wall bead and back through the floor bead in the same direction your thread had been exiting. That's 3 units on now. And you can see the 4 floor beads that we started with here at the bottom. So pass through the 4th and final floor bead. Now this floor bead already has both its walls here. It's going to share the wall from the very first unit and the last unit. So there's the first unit, there's the second unit, and here is the third unit. So there's the 4th floor and both its walls. So to get into the correct position, we're going to go up through the very first wall bead. And we only need to add 1 bead in this round, or the ceiling bead. Then go back down through the wall and across through the floor bead. And now that the 4th unit is there, we need to get into the correct position to proceed. So you're going to go back up through the first wall bead and then pass through 1 ceiling bead. And now we're going to tie these 4 ceiling beads on the top together. Just pass through each bead, counting 1, 2, 3, 4. And once you've passed through the 4th bead, cinch them together. And think of them now that they've turned from ceiling beads into the floor beads for the next level. So you see we have the purple beads on the bottom where we started, and now we have a round of purple beads on the top to use as our floor. So for the next level, it's again pick up 1 wall, 1 floor or ceiling, and 1 wall. Pass through the floor bead you had been exiting, pull them down, and step to the next floor bead. This unit needs a wall, then a ceiling, Go back through the wall from the previous unit and through the floor bead in the same direction the thread had been exiting. Step over and pass through the next floor bead. Again, you need 2 beads, a wall bead and a ceiling bead. Pass through the wall, back through the floor you've been exiting. That's 3 units on, 1 to go. Pass through the remaining floor. Then you go up through the wall. Pick up the remaining bead, the ceiling, down through the wall, and back through your floor. Then get in the correct position. You go up the wall, go through the ceiling, and then pass through each of the ceiling beads, tying them together, turning them from your ceiling to the floor for the next level. So the pickup for each level, you begin with 3 beads, a wall, a ceiling, a wall. Pass again through the floor. Pass through the next floor. Then you'll do two bead pickups. The wall, the ceiling, then back through the wall and the floor. Step through the next floor. Another 2 bead pickup, a wall and a ceiling. Go through the wall and the floor. And now we're down to the last unit. Step through the final floor. Pass up through the wall. There's the 2 walls, up through that wall. Pick up your ceiling bead. Down through the wall, back through the floor. Reposition, go up through the wall, through a ceiling, and then tie all 4 together. Now the video is going to continue. We're going to switch to an 8/0 bead, all in the same color, because in a way this is cheating, because you have different color wall beads and different color ceiling beads, and it does make it easier to see your work. And that's the way it turns out. You can clearly see which ones were wall beads, which one were floor ceiling beads. And a lot of times you'll go back and embellish through the wall beads. I'm now going to demonstrate the same principle using 8/0 beads, all of the same color. Picking up 4 beads that represent the 4 floor beads. Pass through all of them again. And this time I think I'll go through just 1 bead on the bottom. It just, like I said, it doesn't matter if you do 1 bead or 2. Cinch them down. Get a good grip on that tail. First unit, we'll need 3 additional beads representing the wall, the ceiling, and the wall. Go back through the floor bead your thread had exited in the same direction, and then step around to the next floor bead. Pick up a wall and a ceiling, go back through the wall and back through the floor bead. This makes 4 beads for the second unit. There we go. So in case it's hard to see sometimes, there are the 4 original floor beads. Pass through the next floor bead, pick up a wall and a ceiling, back through the wall, back through the floor. Here comes the final unit. There's the 4 in the center. So we're going through the last 4, that last floor bead, up through the wall of the first unit. Pick up the remaining bead, go down through the wall of the previous unit, and back through the floor. And you can see, if you angle it just right, you can see the final unit right there, the 4 beads. So we're going to go up the wall and through one of the ceilings. This is setting us up for the next level. and pass through all of the sealing beads like we did previously. And this is going to tie the sealing beads together and turn them into your floor for the next level. If you roll it around, it does look very confusing. The main thing to think of if you should drop it is get your tail thread, hang on to it firmly, locate those first 4 floor beads, and then turn it over and you'll see your sealing set. There's 3 beads for the first unit, the wall, the ceiling, the wall. Pass through the floor in the same direction your thread was exiting. Step over to the next floor. This unit needs 2 beads. The wall, the ceiling. Go back through the wall, back through the floor. Step over to the next floor. This is for unit number 3. Pick up 2 beads. Go back through the wall and back through the floor. There's the final floor bead. Go up the wall bead. Pick up the remaining sealing bead. Go down through the wall and back through the floor. There's the 4 beads of the final side unit. So reposition, go up the wall, and go through a ceiling, and then tie the 4 sealing beads together, transforming them from sealing beads to floor beads for the next unit. And I'll demonstrate it one more time. The first unit is 3 beads. Pass through the floor bead thread was exiting. And step over through the next floor bead. The next 2 units are just 2 beads. Pass through the wall, back through the floor. Step over to the next floor. Pick up 2 beads. Down through the wall and back through the floor. And here's the final unit. Step through its floor. Go up through the wall. Pick up the final bead. Go back through the wall, back through the floor. Then reposition to go up through the wall, through a ceiling, and then tie your sealing beads together. My best piece of advice when doing any kind of crawl or prismatic raw, should you drop the piece in the first set of rounds, use your tail, orient yourself back to your start point, get the tail back in your hand, and then you'll be able to figure out where you've left off. And this I'm just showing you that there are 3 units. If you lay it on its side, you can easily count the holes between each of the 4 groups. And now I hope that you'll never be intimidated by cubic right angle weave again.